UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Teixeira in Nashville just ended, and I'm going to be giving you my breakdown of the card, starting off with the prelim opener, Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez. This was a really solid fight, actually, especially for a women's MMA fight. Klein finished it with a really nice head kick combo, followed up by nasty ground and pound. She started off the fight looking really good, piecing up Melissa Martinez on the feet. She really didn't have much of an answer for her in the striking specifically. She got her jab going early. She was actually landing with power. All the punches that she was landing early had power. She was chewing up the leg, throwing to the body a little bit, looking good. Melissa Martinez picked it up a lot in the second round, still clearly lost. It was pretty much the same game plan from Fatima Klein as in the first round with a couple nice counters from Melissa Martinez. Very solid win from Fatima Klein. She might actually be something in this division, considering her only loss was on short notice to Jasmine Desudavicius, who we now know is pretty damn good. She looked really good, and I think she's going to be pretty good moving forward. She might even be due for a ranked opponent next because she's been a massive favorite and took care of business in both of her two last fights. And Victoria Dudikova is no joke. So Victoria Dudikova and then Melissa Martinez, she's not that great, but it's a good win. She won in an impressive fashion. The way that she fit that head kick in there was really clean. She was really close to her. It was extreme hip dexterity and throwing with that same arm that she threw with the same side as she threw the punch was pretty high level stuff. And then we move on to Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis. Mike Davis started off really well in this one, came right out the gate, bulldozed Mitch Ramirez, almost got him down, gets on the feet for like the next 30 seconds, lands a beautiful high crotch, got right up in there, dumped him. Beautiful transition into the single leg, got on top of him, took care of him. He got him in a body triangle early, so he had his back for probably about 4 minutes of the first round. And he also was very close on a rear naked about three or four different times. Mitch Ramirez fought it pretty good. He had some good hype in this fight. It got the crowd going a bit. You know, Mike Davis did just start like he started looking really tired in the second round. He started looking like he was gonna gas. Um, but he actually also gave himself some like after the fight he had a good promo. He was talking like, "Oh, I want this, I want this." He had a good performance, but also he said he gained 10 pounds of muscle for this fight, and he looked pretty gassed in that second round. I would not be surprised if he was really new to carrying around all that muscle because that muscle fills up really quickly. Um, but yeah, really good combos from him. He kind of just started landing everything in that flurry. What was it? He started off the finishing combination with a flying knee. That's what it was. He hit like a nice flying knee to where Mitch Ramirez kind of backed up against the cage. It didn't like slump him out cold or anything, like the ZM or like the Oliveira KO. But he stunned him. He was against the cage and then hook, hook, hook. Probably about six hooks to put Ramirez down. Ramirez actually looked all right in this fight. I don't know if I'd cut him if I was the UFC. He was pretty entertaining actually. I was saying that I think Mike Davis is going to get this guy cut because that performance versus Moises was pitiful, but he had solid moments. It was a good win. He actually also got hurt at the start of the second round. It wasn't like the most flawless win, but good win. Started off 2-0 on the picks here. Right here's where it went downhill a tiny little bit. Ended up going, I think, 9-3 on the card overall. So it was a good prediction night. Not the one that mattered, but this one was the one that mattered to me. I've been hyping up Kennedy Nzechukwu for about 6 months to a year now. I was saying this guy's top five level. Um, Boy, was I fucking wrong. I think there's legitimately a clip in the prediction video where I said there's no chance Walter Walker gets a heel hook in three straight fights. And he did. He speed mogged Nzechukwu on the feet too. I was like, oh, that's another thing that I said that I was wrong on. Oh, he's gonna be so much faster than Walter Walker. Walter Walker stunned him early. Kennedy Nzechukwu came out looking really confident. He was hands down a little bit. He got clipped once, and then Walter Walker kind of just was like pouring it on, throwing a couple hooks. Then he got right up into the clinch, and from the clinch, um, he landed a takedown, and Zetchku got back up. I was like, oh, it's time to work. And then as soon as he got back up, Walker was right on that heel hook, and that was all she wrote for Kennedy and Zetchku. Um, there's not a lot to say about this fight positive. I was wrong about Kennedy and Zetchku. He is not going to be a guy at heavyweight anymore. But Walter Walker very well might be. This guy who lost to Lucas Brzeski looked really, really good. He might be back on the sauce. The clean monster is not so clean, but he's pretty good. And I actually do think I wouldn't be surprised if he got a ranked opponent in his next fight. I believe Boudet's ranked right now. Let's run that one because Boudet is nothing special himself. But yeah, hell of a performance by Walter Walker. This was the first fight that I got wrong on the card. Unfortunate. Was really psyched on Kennedy Nzechukwu. Just didn't end up kind of realizing it. The Africans actually ended up fucking me this card because Chidi Njokuani, it says he's from the United States. I believe that last name is not United States. Uh, I also believe he actually reps a different country if I'm correct, but who knows? But this fight was one that I actually was able to make quite a bit of money on. I picked Eduardo Mora by decision. I went in and I added it in post to the video yesterday saying, dude, the odds for this fight to go to a decision, like to go the distance, is only minus 275. That's really good. Chuck that in, and that's like a really that's a Morgan Charrier line. That's a really good line. So I threw it in there, and then I actually ended up just picking Eduardo Mora by decision. That ended up being like a minus 170. And she got it done. Lauren Murphy, shout out to her. She grit it down in the third round. Her husband said something in the corner like her like this can be like your last 5 minutes fighting, go out there and give it everything you got, and she almost finished Eduardo Mora. She had a very tight guillotine. Credit to Eduardo Mora for actually having the grit to try to fight out of that guillotine. A lot of women and women's MMA fighters do not have much grit, and they quit a lot. Mora did not. She was really close to being submitted twice. Murphy actually won the striking exchanges in the third round too. Mora kind of gassed out, and I think it was really just an old lady grit from Lauren Murphy. And respect to her, decent win for Eduardo Mora. Um, she did solid when she got her takedowns. Um, she just landed like a few nice shots on the feet, clearly won the striking exchanges. Like, oh, here's like a nice little counter hook. Here's a little overhand. We landed a 1-2. I also was just saying I think I wrote down women's MMA block 1-2 challenge impossible. That one was for this fight and the Fatima Klein fight because Melissa Martinez looked like she had never been taught what a 1-2 is. Fatima Klein was throwing that shit at her and it was like she had no idea what was being thrown at her. It just landed every single time. And then the same thing was happening with both Lauren Murphy and Eduardo Mora. Just Murphy didn't have much sting on her punches, but they just kept getting tagged by 1-2s. Just simple boxing fundamentals was just fucking so foreign to this girl who's fought for like 20 years and this girl who's supposed to be like some sort of prospect, I guess. But yeah, women's MMA, the best of the best. This was actually a pretty solid. This was a nasty pick by me, but Eduardo Mora by decision, minus 170. That was a solid pick. Ended up being 3-1, and right here's where I got another one wrong here on Chidi and Jokuani. He was winning the striking exchange on the feet, the small ones that there were. Um, there was not a lot of stuff going on the feet. He landed like a couple high kicks against the guard. Jake, like he was clearly finding his range early. And then they just got in this tiny little clinch exchange. And originally, I thought Njokuani went for the throw that landed him on bottom position, but Matthews landed like this little like shoulder throw, like very weird, but it knocked Njokuani onto all fours. Matthews jumped onto his back, was able to cinch up the rear naked choke. He called out Gilbert Burns. You're not fighting Gilbert Burns, buddy. You're a journeyman at 30. You're not getting the number 10 guy in the world. You said you took Michael Morales to a competitive decision. Not getting finished is not competitive. So I'll talk about fights to make another time, but Jake Matthews, you do not get to fight Gilbert Burns, little bro. Nonetheless, it was a good win. Was one of the ones that I got wrong, and the line surged for Njokuani. He got up to like minus 180 at some point. So somebody who got Jake Matthews at like plus 150 is probably pretty happy. I did say that this is not one that I was going to be betting on because I was just really iffy about it, and I did see a world where Jake Matthews was able to be good in the clinch. But I also and get the takedowns and take care of business on the ground. But I thought Njokuani would just be able to keep him on the outside and catch him coming in. Unfortunately, that it really was kind of like a weird situation where he just landed on all fours, and then Jake Matthews jumped on it. He did the right thing there, and he was able to get a win. He even said in the post-fight interview, like, that happens 1 out of 20 times. So he pretty much said, "Hey guys, I fluked that, but I want Gilbert Burns next." Not happening, buddy. But good win nonetheless. Moving on, Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. Max Griffin clearly won the first. He beat the eye up of Chris Curtis. He had like this big cut on his eye that just made his eye real red. He hit him with a couple like thudding strikes, but man, in the second round and then the third round, especially, Chris Curtis just found his groove, man. Chris Curtis was able to very easily start getting going in that second round. He just was able to do a lot to Max Griffin, whereas Max Griffin was no longer able to do a lot to him. Bush Curtis in this whole fight was advancing, 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 looking really good, and then he just can't cut off the cage. That's one thing. He was advancing. I'd say his cage control was probably like, if there was for the second and third round, he was probably advancing for like 9 minutes 30 seconds of that. He was always moving forward, but the he just doesn't cut off the cage at all. That's one thing. His cage control is really poor. Like, he always keeps the guy near the fence, against the fence, and it does set him up to land some nice combinations, but he's not able to cut guys off when they're moving in space. I got scared when this was a split because I picked Chris Curtis and I picked him as my lock. It was a clear 29 to 28. Um, but yeah, at the end, he was able to just find a couple nice shots. A couple notes that I took on him was Chris Curtis stung him multiple times to the body. That was the big thing. And the third round, the shots that he landed to the body were really hurting Max Griffin. And then as well as that, I said Chris Curtis can't cut off the cage to save his life. And he also was really fresh. His cardio looked really good. He actually was getting speed mogged by Max Griffin. Old man Max Griffin was speed mogging him in the first round. He looked a lot quicker, and I was like, damn, is our middleweights this shit? And then he locked in the second round, third round, got the decision, took care of business. The judges got it right, but man, when they said Max Griffin, I was like, wait a minute. Or it's really once you start hearing them say names, you're like, oh, now we got to hear the judges, this and that. And that's when you know, why is this going to the decision, split decision. But glad Chris Curtis got the dub. He definitely deserved it. Maybe he could get a ranked opponent at welterweight. I wouldn't be surprised if he could get a fight there, just because he does have a name and he has been ranked at middleweight before. And Max Griffin's quite a relevant win. But that was a good fight from Chris Curtis. I picked him to win by decision, and he won by decision. So on the prelims, I ended up being 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, 4-2. Like I said, the Africans were not fair to me. They both wanted to see me lose. They actually had me down a little bit of coin. Going to start the main card, I was down like $50. Right here is where it changed. The momentum shifted. Tuko Tokos, baby. This man was a killer today. Everybody picked Justin Taffa. No one was picking Tuko Tokos. And I was like, wait a minute. We're talking about Junior Taffa. Like, cool that he lost weight. But like I said, because a lot of people that I was like watching their reactions were like, oh my God, how shit is Junior Taffa? I thought he'd be good enough to beat Tuko Tokos, who's one of the worst fighters ever, like, in the UFC. Yes, he is one of the worst fighters in the UFC at light heavyweight. Junior Taffa is one of the least talented fighters in the UFC at heavyweight, the least talented division in the UFC. So this guy is actually probably, both the Taffa brothers are probably in like the bottom 10 worst fighters, male fighters in the UFC. And Tuko Tokos, he was losing on the feet. He was losing all of the striking exchanges. In the beginning of the second round, Junior Taffa almost finished him. He hit him big and had him retreating. He had to shoot like a big desperation takedown. Um, and he could have really got finished. He was landing some nice elbows when Tuko Tokos was in on the takedowns, but he just was not able to stop the takedowns of Tuko Tokos. And Tuko Tokos was able to get the rear naked choke submission on him. It was a really convincing one. He actually landed some nice ground and pound to make Junior Taffa turn around, because he was like, ah, fuck, I'm getting kind of steed off on, because you could start seeing him hit the back of the canvas, so you could tell Taffa, he was feeling those punches. So he goes, I'm a belly out, try to get out. He gave up his back and got choked out. Tuko Tokos, not a lot of people picked him. This was my favorite dog pick of the card. He closed at plus 200. I made a lot of money doubling down on Tuco Tucos, because everybody, when the fight happened, it went to where Tuco Tucos was all the way up to a plus 200. And I'm sitting here like, Junior Tafa? Are we serious? Like, we're acting like this guy's all that because somebody just saw, like I'm sure it was once they saw him in the room, like, damn, he really did slim down. Let me put some money on him. But yeah, that line got all the way up to plus 200 for Tuco Tokos, was able to win. Like I said he'd mix in the takedowns, and I said Junior Tafa is just super low level. I said that his wins are not high level. Parker Porter, Sean Sharaf, and then he loses to everybody decent. Um, yeah, and like he did to Walter Walker, he got subbed. This guy has no grappling game. I'd say BKFC should be next for him, but also the Tafa brothers, like I was saying in the prediction video, they don't have grit. These guys are supposed to be like the Aussie type dudes. They're like the brawlers, the bar fighter. They're just pussies, and they throw a decent one too, and they can maybe knock somebody out, but they can't grapple. They're not specifically good at any style other than like some like dirty boxing and stuff like that, but they're not clean at all. Um, Easy pick with Tuco Tokos. This does not mean Tuco Tokos is going to be a guy at light heavyweight. It just means that he's not the worst guy at light heavyweight. He probably saved his career from getting cut. Good work for bloated up Ayman Zahabi. Moving on to bloated up Bilal. Austin Lane. Like I made the take that he is the worst fighter in the UFC. He went out and showed that. Got taken down really early by Vitor Petrino. No really action on the feet. This fight closes like a minus 600, so I did make like a little bit of money parlay this in with some other stuff. Um, Gets him down, choked him out. Austin Lane like tried to fight the submissions for a little while. He was really attacking the head and arm choke in this fight. He went for it like three times, was really close on it on one of them, and then eventually he said, "I'm a ground and pound this guy." And then he started ground and pounding Austin Lane. Austin Lane, same as Junior Tafa, had to roll over, belly out, and try to get up. He gave up his back and got choked out by Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino, it's going to be kind of hard to predict his next fight, I'm going to say, because he really did not do well at light heavyweight. But like I said, the Anthony Smith was like a self-inflicted wound, and then Dustin Jacoby, he actually did look good. So maybe he could be somewhat of a guy at heavyweight, but he also did just be the worst fighter on the roster, so you can't really know because Austin Lane is trash. Um, so yeah, started off the main card 2-0. Continued this one. I got this one right. I picked Morgan Charrier by decision or TKO. He ended up getting a TKO in the third round. First round, he looked probably as good as we've seen Morgan Charrier in the UFC. He was landing everything. He looked super dialed in. He hurt Nate Landwehr in moments. The leg kicks were really hurting Nate Landwehr. He was landing them. They were already starting to swell in the first round. Landwehr was clearly getting stung by him, and he was not enjoying getting hit by those whatsoever. One thing I will say, Nate Landwehr has one of the best wizards that I've ever seen. Morgan Charrier was like balls deep on a submission, or not a submission, on a takedown attempt three times, and all of them were like super, super deep. Like caught him under a big overhand, took him down all the way, fully locked up, hands locked on the hips, perfect. Then the other one, he got like right on him against the cage. He got the trip, and he still got wizard. And Nate Landwehr was just really able to battle. In the second round, so clear first round win for Morgan Charrier. And then in the second round, Landwehr was able to make it a scrap, do what he does best, really hurt Morgan Charrier in minutes, was hyping up the crowd, looking really, really good. He was landing a lot more than Morgan Charrier. For a while, I was just like, oh man, like he's actually outpacing Morgan Charrier. I might have to give this round to Landwehr. And then in like the last minute, it was like, holy shit, he's really pouring it on Morgan Charrier. And Morgan Charrier was looking bad, but he really did bounce back, and we'll talk about how he did in a second. But Nate Landwehr, man, really, really solid performance. We weren't expecting him to win. He's technically dog shit, but he was able to just go and make it a scrap, which is the only he gave himself a chance. In the second round, it got super scrappy. Those are the situations that Nate Landwehr is best at, and I was happy with how that fight went. I was low key rooting for my pick to be wrong because everybody kind of likes the train. Nate Landwehr, he's the man. But in the third round, I think it was a big overhand, like right overhand by Morgan Charrier that really stumbled Landwehr. Followed up with like just a bunch of hooks and like just follow up shots. And against the cage, pretty much like three or four of them. Like it'd be like one, two, number three landed really good. Two or like four, five, and then six lands really good. Like his combos, like every now and again, he'd get one that was like slowly dropping Landwehr, and then that last one kind of dropped him like a sack of potatoes. He wasn't like out, but He took some punishment in that fight. Charrier looked really good. The second round gave some scares, but in the first round, like I said, I do think he looked better than he's looked in pretty much any of his fights in the UFC. Um, I still think that he could really be a guy at featherweight. I'm not saying he's fraud check just because he's lost to two really decent dudes, and Nate Landwehr's a really solid win in himself. Moving on, Steve Garcia versus Calvin Kattar. I picked Steve Garcia by brutal knockout. He got close. Oh boy, did he get close. But pretty much, I'll say this: the whole fight was the same thing. Steve Garcia was establishing the jab really early. His leg kicks were doing damage. He was whipping up the head kick. Every now and again, he'd throw like a wheel kick, or he landed a nice step in elbow. But it really was the fundamentals just outboxing Calvin Kattar, which is a big win to do. He did not have a lot of high level competition before this fight, so dominating Calvin Kattar in the way that he did is a really good look. And man, I like this. I'll say this about Steve Garcia: he clearly won the first and the second. Damaging him to the face, the body. He busted up Calvin Kattar's nose. He was all bloody, running down his forehead. He really did body Calvin Kattar in the first two rounds, and then in the third round, he landed like this really nice. I think it was a straight that dropped Cater, and Cater was hurt. He was like about to face plant. I thought he was going to go out, but he got back up, was able to fight his way back into it. He forced the clinch, kind of recovered after like 40 seconds in the clinch. But this is the thing about Steve Garcia, man. This guy has finishing instincts like we don't see a lot in the smaller weight classes. We saw it with Yusuf Zalal. When you clearly win the first two, it's okay. It's okay to damn near rest on your morals to some of these guys, and say like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna kind of run around. I'm gonna not get tagged. I clearly won one and two. I'm gonna just punt the third round. Steve Garcia didn't do that. He was throwing like I believe he threw like a wheel kick at the bell, followed up by like a nice like 1-2. Like he was trying to finish this fight the whole way through. He was on Cater. He wasn't just like, oh well, I already won. Let me just stay out of trouble. He was giving himself situations to get countered and stuff. He dominated this fight. And I think that Steve Garcia could be a real guy at featherweight now, dominating Calvin Cater. Because that's the thing. Whenever you just keep knocking these guys out, you haven't seen him go the full 15 minutes, and he did, and he looked really good. Come next win or what is it, Tuesday? He should have a number next to his name. We'll have to see what's up next for Cater. He did take some damage in that fight, but he didn't really have moments. Steve Garcia pretty much fully shut him out. He looked way better in all areas of the striking, and he damn near finished Calvin Cater. And like I said, this dude's really good for the sport. We have a lot of guys who are just so okay with not finishing fights. Fuck you, Gabriel Bonfim. But it's all right. Steve Garcia is a dude at featherweight, and I think that he looked amazing in this fight. Moving on to the co-main event, Stephen Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. So I was one of the few people to pick Stephen Thompson, but I saw the vision, dude. I said Gabriel Bonfim's not the best offensive grappler. He's a good jiu-jitsu player. He's not going to be able to consistently take Wonderboy down. He'd take Wonderboy down maybe twice. He had in the first round, he did get really, really close on a rear naked choke. Wonderboy was able to fight his way out of it though. Got back up on the feet and then got rocked. So the first round was Gabriel Bonfim's. I will tell you this: I scored the fight for Wonderboy. I could see why Bonfim won. This is not like a robbery, but it did remind me of a Jose Aldo, like Mario Batista type of fight, where it's like this is a legend who is so good in the striking, and you are just so content because Gabriel Bonfim's not a Mario Batista level fighter. I'd like to say that Mario Batista's really good, and that's why I was so pissed off at Mario Batista at the time because I was like, man, you could outstrike Jose Aldo. You are a really good boxer. You are gritty. You are entertaining. We've seen you be really good before, but he didn't. And Bonfim is the opposite. He has no path to victory besides to smudge the hell out of his opponent. And like I said, Stephen One Boy Thompson is not going to get submitted by Gabriel Bonfim. Bonfim, aside from the moment of success where he got close with the rear naked in round one, had nothing in this fight. The next biggest moment that he had was checking one of Wonderboy's kicks, splitting his shin open, really nasty cut. But Wonderboy in the second round was on the attack the entire time. He stuffed all the takedowns in the second round. He kept it on the feet. His head kick, even though it wasn't landing flush, was landing on the guard, and Bonfim was feeling it. He was landing his 1-2s. He was catching Bonfim coming in. He was advancing and stuffing all the takedowns. It was a clear round two to Wonderboy. All three judges scored it for him. But he did get caught, like he did get his kick checked, and it did start pouring blood. That thing's gonna need stitches for sure. But then in the third round, man. Wonder Boy, I remember one moment specifically where Bonfim was like kind of like I think he was like crouched or something, but he was like kind of coming up, and Wonderboy caught him like actually not flush, but kind of flush. Like he only blocked it with one arm, and Bonfim clearly felt it. Like I thought that that head kick really stunned Bonfim, and I thought that Wonderboy did really good in all the striking exchanges. And in the third round, Bonfim was getting like the kind of fake takedowns where like, oh, you got him up against a fence, and now he's down to one knee, but now he's back up, and like that's not a real takedown. You didn't secure it. You weren't in control, and then he hugged him up against the cage. I said, like, this is what I was thinking. I said, Gabriel Bonfim did nothing but like lay on Stephen Thompson, hug Stephen Thompson. He did no damage in the third round, whereas Wonderboy was flicking up that head kick, was landing combinations during the first 3 minutes. He clearly won all of the striking exchanges and then got smudged for the last 2 minutes. That should not win you a fight. And to the UFC Nashville fans, the guys who were there in the building, one, Stephen Thompson's a classy guy. To get on the cage and raise this fucking terrorist of the sport to raise his hand, give him love, give him respect, give him a hug, like be super nice, smile at him during the fight. Fuck this guy. And the Nashville fans should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for not booing this little douchebag out of the building. Stephen Thompson is a fucking legend, one of the best of all time to watch. A company man, great dude. He gave you the shot to get into the rankings, even though you've beaten no one significant and you are the last guy who should be getting a shot in the rankings. And you hug him up against the cage, refuse to go to war with him, 42 years old and injured badly in the third round. He could not move too well on that fucking shin that was pouring blood. And he said, "Oh no, no, no! I felt the power of that head kick. I'm a hug him up against the fucking cage." That should not win you a fight. Gabriel Bonfim is a bitch. Gabriel Bonfim, he will never be anything in the sport. Feed this guy to Michael Morales, please. Michael Morales, please starch this guy out fucking badly. Give him to anybody who will just dominate and TKO the fuck out of this guy because he's not that good. The reason that I picked Stephen Thompson was not this take that he's really good and I think he's going to do this. Like I said, I think he's going to get taken down and clearly lose one round, but I think he's going to be able to outpoint Bonfim by being a much more technical striker on the feet, and he did that. And shout out to what's the dude's name? I wrote it down because I specifically wanted to give credit to this fucking guy. Um, Shout out to Rick Winner. Rick Winner is a real combat fan who doesn't want to just see, oh, I just fucking hugged this guy up against the cage, failed fucking takedowns, did zero damage. Might not have landed a fucking strike in the third round, it felt like. He wasn't landing anything of note, at least. Um, Fuck Gabriel Bonfim. He will never be shit in this sport. It's an atrocity that he's going to have a number next to his name because Thompson was nice enough to give this guy a shot into the rankings when there's guys like Randy Brown coming off that sick knockout of Nicholas Dalby, or Brian Battle over the controversial nonetheless win over Randy Brown. We have these guys who are legit fighters on the outside looking in. And now we have to talk about Gabriel Bonfim. He's number 10, number 11 in the world. Give this guy to MVP, and I want to see this guy's fucking skull get caved in. Look at this ugly little shit, dude. I hate Gabriel Bonfim. He did not deserve to win that fight. I deserved to get that Thompson pick right because everything I said about it was right. I didn't say Bonfim is, or I didn't see Thompson's just so many levels above Bonfim. I said he is in the striking, and Bonfim is just not that good, and he's going to be able to outpoint him, and he did. He outpointed Gabriel Bonfim. I don't get how that decision went to Gabriel Bonfim. I was happy it was a split because that at least will show that there's some controversy there. Rick Winner, shout out to that guy. He's a real combat fan. Bonfim is a disgrace to the sport. This guy is now officially one of my least favorite fighters. Thompson is way too classy. He shouldn't have been smiling at him. He should have been spitting in his face. He shouldn't have fucking been holding his arm on the cage, sitting up there with him. He should have fucking pushed him off and kicked him while he was down. Fuck Gabriel Bonfim, dude. This guy is a pussy. He's a terrorist of the sport. He's horrible. Like people shit on Torres Finney. At least that guy was securing takedowns in his fight. People shit on Marab. At least he finishes his takedowns. At least he's able to be competent on the feet. Gabriel Bonfim sucks. I'm a fan of a lot of grapplers. Marab is quite literally my second favorite fighter. My favorite bantamweight ever to grace the UFC. And Gabriel Bonfim is a joke. I fucking hate the way that this should there's something that we need to do about being able to hug and fuck whoever that ref was too. The fact that you went 2 minutes of literal hug, like it's not like he was doing knees in the clinch or clinch work or work into the back or trying to get or he had his hands locked. He was just hugging him. And the ref should have separated that, should have gotten it back out into space. Fuck Gabriel Bonfim one more time. This dude is a pussy. This was my third fight that I got wrong on the card, but it really felt like I only got two wrong. And you know what? I don't feel too bad about getting a plus 320 underdog who closed at plus 350, 380 actually wrong. I feel bad for Wonder Boy that he took that damage to the shin and he did everything he was supposed to do to win that fight, and he did not win that fight. This isn't some brutal robbery. This isn't Gon Volkov. This isn't something that it's like, oh my God, how did he win? It's just, it's pathetic that that should win you a fight. I thought Batista pretty clearly beat Aldo. I don't think that about this fight. It's different because it's close. And Bonfim is just not that good, whereas Mario Batista is super high level. But moving on to the main event, I got this one right to a T. Oh my God. Talison Teixeira is gonna run through the heavyweight division. Do you see what this guy did to Justin Tafa? Do you see? This guy's 8-0. He's never been to the second round. Watch the fights, bro. Watch the LFA fight. Like I said, he was getting smudged up and bitched out by Arthur Finesca, who looks like fucking melted ice cream. And Matthias Finesca was tagging him up. On the Contender Series, this is the shot that I said would put out Talison Teixeira. He overextends with his stupid little jab that doesn't do real damage, and it's caught on the chin because he does not have any striking defense. And what did Derek Lewis do? Big overhand right on the chin, just like I envisioned it. By the way, to anybody who called that a shit stoppage, what were we looking at differently? Because why would the ref look at a guy who just climbed up the fucking cage like a capuchin monkey trying to fucking claw like he grabbed the cage, like grabbing it, climbing it like that, like 5 times, and that was the only way he got back up to the feet. Lewis caught him beautifully. Not to mention he got like thumb to the eye. I don't I think it might have even just been a punch that landed really inconveniently. But he put Talison Teixeira out bad. Like it's not like he flatlined this dude. It was exactly like I said it would be. He's going to knock him off balance backwards, really stun Talison Teixeira. He's going to fall back onto his back and fail to recover from the ground and pound. Derek Lewis with the great ground and pound. Um, Amazing fight from Derek Lewis. I think he could actually keep going at heavyweight. Like he's not quite done. He's not gonna like fight for a belt ever again. I know that's been going around. That's funny. He won't. Fun fact though, if he does fight Aspinall, if he fought Aspinall 100 times, he beats Aspinall at least like 5 of those times because Derek Lewis's power is ridiculous. Um, like he has a better shot at beating Aspinall than like Curtis Blades does, honestly. Even though Curtis Blades and these guys are so much more high level, he has a better chance to finish Aspinall than any of these guys have to beat Aspinall. But that's kind of funny. But yeah, to people who protested the stoppage, you have to understand when you grab the cage like that, it should be an assisted stoppage, pretty much. Like he would never have gotten back up to his feet without the cage, and because he cheated to get back up to his feet it's a true knockout. He caught him right on the chin, like I said he would. Derek Lewis finds that over the home for that overhand right on the chin, right on the mouth. These tall heavyweights, and like I said, just because you beat Justin Tafa and 6-3 Arthur Lopez and the Finesca dudes, both of them who have a combined record of 4-7 or 4-5, whoop de fucking do. Talison Teixeira beats up 50-year-old fucking karate instructors. And oh my God. On the broadcast they showed oh his fastest knockout is versus this Dos Santos guy. Not that Junior Dos Santos. This is Julio Dos Santos. Yeah, look at the fucking fight. The dude he was fighting was like 50 years old. Dude, what the fuck? Why are we giving this guy credit like he's any good? I'm telling you, this was free money. I made $400 on Derek Lewis, by the way. He was the final leg of all my parlays. Bro, I had this. The feeling was in the air when I walk upstairs and I go, "Hey, what are we having for dinner?" They were making chicken, watermelon, and cornbread. So I went outside, grabbed a fucking grape soda, and I said, "This is Derek Lewis's element right here. We are eating like Derek Lewis today. There's no way he loses this fucking fight." And that's a true story. I was munching down my fucking watermelon, cornbread, and chicken. sipping on my grape soda, watching Derek Lewis fucking fraud check this goofball. Derek Lewis is the man. Derek Lewis is not the guy to take oh, he beat Justin Taffa really quickly. He's been in the UFC and has beat all this mediocre competition. Let's jump him up to top 10 most knockouts in UFC history. Most dangerous fucking man on the planet. Can sleep anybody. Walking Derek Lewis. They asked him who he wanted next. He said, I want to ground and pound my wife. No John Jones, by the way. He mooned the crowd. Who doesn't love watching Derek Lewis? This guy's fucking sweet. Hey, whoever was one, he said he was on the phone with the president. He said he was on the phone with Trump. Like Dana actually handed him his phone, so there's like a decent chance he could have actually been on the phone with Trump. Hey, fuck whoever was running the UFC broadcast for muting what Derek Lewis had to say. He has the best octagon interviews in UFC history, and we wanna censor him. Fuck you. But he looked amazing. I hope he does go ground and pound his wife. Um, Excellent performance from him. No John Jones. This guy is not going to go fucking uh, beat his wife to a bloody mess. He's going to go get some. He's been holding off for a little bit. He's in peak performance. He's in the best shape of his life. There's a reason that this man fucking finished Taliesin Teixeira in 35 seconds. He's probably about to go finish in 35 seconds, dude. He said he's been holding off for 2 months or something like that. Oh, bro, he's about to go fucking have a hell of a time. He's gonna go get busy in Nashville where they have some of the fucking best chicken in the world. He is gonna have a fucking hell of a night, and he had me a hell of a night. I was running around the fucking house like a retard. He had me juiced up. I also I just once again I don't understand protesting the stoppage. Taliesin Teixeira is exactly what I said he is. He's a bum. He's a can. He's nothing but 6'8" with a jab and a mediocre head kick. He is he is the worst version of Alexander Volkov. I genuinely think Alexander Volkov, maybe 3 days into training, maybe looked like this. When he walked into the gym when he was probably like 19 years old and was like, I want to learn how to strike. 3 days later, he looked like fucking Taliesin Teixeira, and this guy was fucking minus 300 versus Derek Lewis. This fight closed at minus 250 with or sorry, plus 250 with a plus 300 by knockout for Derek Lewis. I hammered the fuck out of that, made like 400 bucks on this card. He helped me out too because I started off down 50 with Nezuchukwu and Chidi both selling me. I only had like 10 bucks on Chidi, but Nezuchukwu was one of my like big picks of the card because I have been super high on him and he sold. Um, but yeah, he hits like crack. Derek Lewis hits like whatever the crack fucking Lauren Murphy was doing before this fight. Respect to Lauren Murphy. I'm not gonna just like go shit on her, but she did look like she might have been back on the stuff. Um Fent's been back on the rise in America. She might have partook in the camp to this fight. Maybe a little bit of meth. She got methed up by Eduardo Mora. But Derek Lewis, this man hits like crack. This man hits like a truck. This man hits like a fucking brick shit house. Um, I think that there's some fun stuff in the future for Derek Lewis. I don't think that you should keep feeding a Taliesin Teixeira type prospect to him. And please don't put him in there with somebody who he doesn't have. But like, either give this guy a legitimate chance to string together some decent ranked wins, which Derek Lewis could do. Like a him versus Aspinall build-up would be funny as hell, but like the division's shallow enough as is, and he said, "Oh, I'm 2 fights away." The state of heavyweight, Taliesin Teixeira, who was just fighting Justin Taffa, was 2 fights away. Literally, if Taliesin Teixeira beat Derek Lewis and called out like Sergey Pavlovich or like gone off a loss or Shelton Almeida and beat him, he might get a title shot. That's how shallow this division is. So if Derek Lewis can put together 2 decent wins, it's not a ridiculous thing to say. I don't think he'll do it. But Derek Lewis is the fucking man. Don't keep feeding these Taliesin Teixeira-esque bombs to him because he will sleep them badly. Just keep feeding this guy. Just put him on the main card opener of pay-per-views. Just have him starch motherfuckers out cold. He said he wanted to fight 2 more times this year. I think he could fight maybe once more this year. He was in peak shape. He was looking good, looking like lean. And also he finished this fight in 35 seconds. He took no real damage. He got like poked in the eye a little bit. Give him 2 nights and some good ground and pound with the old lady, and he'll be right back in there to sleep. Pretty much anybody he wants soon. Please don't give him somebody who could just go out there and grapple with him. Give him somebody who will swing and bang with him. I don't want to see Walter Walker get the Derek Lewis jump up because there's a world where he actually does just heel hook Derek Lewis. There's a world where he heel hooks fucking Aspinall. That apparently that dude's heel hook is just invincible. Um, but give Derek Lewis somebody who is like on the cusp, or somebody low in the rankings, or somebody who's just above him. I'd have to think about who's in the top 10 at heavyweight because I don't want to see this guy just get like some ridiculous jump up and lose. Let him go knock out Rizvan Kuniev. Yeah, let him go just knock out a Dagestani jobber, dude. But yeah, ended up doing really well on the card. My underdog picks hit all of them except for Wonder Boy. Were able to get her done. My underdog picks of the card, obviously being Derek Lewis, who closed as a plus 250, and I got him at plus 300 for the knockout. The Garcia was a pick 'em. That one I was pretty happy with getting. And then the Tuco Tokos was the pick that I was most proud of, aside from the Derek Lewis one, because I like the Derek Lewis one just strictly because I watched a lot of tape for it and I was able to see the shot that put Taliesin Teixeira out cold. But the Tuco Tokos one felt like a fucking nasty pick because I was like, he's gonna mix in the takedowns. He's gonna show that, I'm not the worst fighter in the division. I might be the second worst. Might be what this fight was. This fight might have been said, who's the fucking worst? It's you. Nah, it's not me. It's you. Both these guys are fucking ass. Please don't go get hyped up on Tuco Tokos and put a lot of money on him in his next fight. That would be moronic. But Derek Lewis looked amazing, got her done. And I really hope that they do drop what he said in his post-fight presser, or in his post-fight interview, because man, who just mutes the hot mic of the best fucking post-fight press conference guy in the UFC? He mooned the crowd. He stripped again, hit a goofy little dance, hit his little celebration. Oh, fucking sweet. I do hope Trump was on the phone. I like the idea that like Trump's at home while we have like Texans drowning in war in Israel and fucking all this shit going on with the country. The Epstein list just didn't get dropped. And he's just like, oh boy, this Derek Lewis guy, I fucking love watching him fight. Gotta call this fucker. Like, he knocked out that fucking balding 25-year-old Brazilian. I like the idea that he just been sitting in the fucking Oval Office watching Derek Lewis get his 16th career UFC knockout. But yeah, that's gonna be all for the card. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm gonna be talking about fights to make tomorrow. And yeah, enjoy the money that you made from Derek Lewis Moneyline. Go get yourself some fried chicken. Go get yourself some watermelon. Go munch on some cornbread for me and enjoy that free bread. This man, Derek Lewis, is an infinite money glitch. This guy's printing dollar bills for me, and enjoy the money that you made using this fucking pick of Derek Lewis by overhand knockout on the chin of this fucking goober, Taliesin Teixeira. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will see y'all tomorrow.